dreamers all came together in his laughter. I know we're here for the last Annette song, and I'll get back to it, but those two lines, a dreamer and laughter.
Son of a...
Son of a...
Son of a... Son of a... Son of a...
Son of a...
Son of a...
Are you
Are you serious?
Are you serious?
Well, Nightwish Army, we are down to today and tomorrow. So this is my last Annette song on the 50 Nightwish songs in 50 days. And so it was a really hard one because it's Meadows of Heaven. And Meadows of Heaven, if you're paying attention to what all YouTube has to offer, has an acoustic version, a couple orchestra versions, but those are not her singing with Nightwish. And so those are out. And then there's the fan version, which we're going to watch today. And then there's the album track versions with no video. So and that's why I'm going to it. So it's kind of I'm risking it because a lot of times these fan videos, audio just is horrible. So I hope that it was a good risk. And I hope that as we're ending, that this can be a strong ending for Annette. Because I'm cheering for her. I want it to be a strong ending. I think that Annette tends to get the short end of the stick in a lot of scenarios, and she's kind of that bridge between original Nightwish Tarja and current Nightwish Floor. But she does offer so much, and I've really grown to appreciate that. So as we get going and get started, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscription button, bell, notification, all the fun things that kids tell us we should be doing these days, because it means the world to me. And just because this chapter is almost done doesn't mean my Nightwish journey is over. There's still like 85 or 90 more songs to go. So we'll see what we've got up next. Anyway, if you got suggestions, throw it in the comments. But in the meantime, let's get into these Meadows from Heaven.
Enjoy it, Meadows of...
So symbolism right off the gate. I close my eyes, the lantern dies. Like that's 6 words, and I'm already pausing it. Yeah, I know part of you are probably already commenting, stop pausing, let her sing. And I will, I promise. But the power in those 6 words and the symbolism of when the lights go out, you're no more is rich and strong. And her soft voice is secretly what I was hoping it would be for this song. Reminiscing of childhood games in woods and lakes. It's like the family vacations when money was tight and you had nothing but the imagination the playing in the woods, the playing in the water. There's a church camp in Colorado that we used to go to as a family. And so at the end of the summer, when the camp for kids was done, they'd clean up, and to make extra money, they'd rent out the cabins. And so we would go, and I think it's like, I mean, this was mid 90s. So I think it was like $20 a night for a family. And the center of the camping area was the bathrooms, and then all the cabins were around it. And so you would stay in a cabin that had bunk beds and 2-inch mattress with the sleeping bag on it. And then if you had to go to the bathroom or take a shower, you grabbed your stuff and you walked out to it and you took it there. But we had full run of the camp. We were the only family there, so we had canoes, we had hiking, we had rock climbing. We didn't go all the way up the mountains, but there was natural springs. There was all kinds of stuff to do. And then we were 30-45 minutes from town, so we'd go do other things too. But like when I think of childhood games and woods and lakes, I think of being in nature, being one with nature. Good part of my childhood was not, there was no screens. We had one TV, and we had to do all kinds of chores to get time around the TV. And it was typically you either get money or tokens that we could trade in for TV time. Well, my brother and I always got money because we wanted to go spend it on stuff. My sister had TV time, so either we sat around and watched whatever she wanted because she was in control. It was her token to spend, or we were outside playing. Sometimes starting fires I shouldn't have started, but that's a story for a different day. But man, there's a lot of good memories when it comes to childhood games. Before Annette starts back, we started off the song knowing that the lantern light went out. And so now we're reminiscing. And the meadows of heaven, the meadows of heaven, the meadows of heaven, 4 times over and over. It's that crossing over from one world into the next. And I immediately go to the movie The Gladiator, and how he's all of a sudden walking through the field, touching the wheat and grains, going to see his wife and son that were taken while he was at war. And that meadows of heaven, like just the simplistic purity of what that symbolizes is really special and worthy to be repeated throughout, because it takes your mind and it takes it all over the place as far as different memories and points in life, and then it sucks you back to the simplistic perfection and beauty that can be summed up in those 3 words. This is, it feels so simple, but it's so beautiful at the same time. Rocking Chair Without a Dreamer goes back to Paca and Beppa's dairy farm in Washington. Their farm sat in the most northernest part of Washington, where there was a road in front of the farm and a ditch, and on the other side of the ditch was another road, and that road was Canada. And I would spend the summers of 1990, 91, and 92, and possibly 93 at the farm. And I remember 91 and 92 because I grew almost 5 inches one of those summers and came home and put on some sunglasses and walked right past my parents in the airport when I came home because they didn't recognize me because I'd grown so much. And I thought that was hilarious. To this day, I think it's just how a parent can let their kid walk by them. But I've changed quite a bit, obviously. But part of dairy farm life is that the cows are reliant upon you to milk them on a regular basis, and the schedule was that every morning at 4 a.m. Pocket would get up and bring and gather all the cows together and put them in the holding area, lock the gate, and then we would slowly funnel them into there's a pit, and then there'd be 10 cows on either side of you, and you go down the pit, clean them up, milk them, open the can, they'd go out, and then you'd close the doors, and then the next 10 would come in, and you just cycled that until all the cows were milked. Well, with me barely, not even being a teenager, right in those formative years, and being the oldest grandson, he wasn't really used to having much help, and because most of the grandkids just got in the way. But I was visiting from Kansas, thousands of miles away, and which I should probably Google, probably 8,000 miles away. It was a 3-day drive to get there if we drove. So, but he would never wake me up to help him. Whenever I got there, I got there. He wanted me to. I was a growing boy. He wanted me. He wanted me to rest, and no matter what help I could give him in his age, he wanted what's best for me. And so you're like, okay, Derek, how are you bawling, teary eyes going to bring this back to a freaking Meadows of Heaven song? I quit sleeping in the bed because I would oversleep, and that drove me crazy. We both were stubborn, and we weren't going to give in. He wasn't going to wake me up, and I wasn't going to sleep in. And so I took his rocking chair. It wasn't a wooden one, it was made of leather, but I took his rocking chair. I'd get up. When I hear him go to bed, I'd get up and I'd move it into the doorway so that I would lay across the doorway in his rocking chair so that he had to wake me up to go milk the cows. And I remember the first time I did it. Leave a stalker, son of a bitch, under his breath. And son of a bitch, which is part of what the name of my channel is, the SOB, is Paca, son of a bitch. Everything was son of a bitch. Woke me up and made me smile. That chair, by the time he passed away of cancer, was worn and the stuffing was falling out. It was the hardest thing for me to let them get rid of because I was not old enough to take it and rent a U-Haul and take it to Kansas and sit in it and sleep in it every day. So I didn't really get a vote. But, whew, man, this song, you want to talk about a dreamer. Lived in Holland, Friesland, and in the war, the Germans came over and killed the family cows and took what they wanted of the garden and then ruined the garden. And he knew he needed to go to America to start a family. He rode from, and those of you that know the countryside, he lived in Friesland, and Beppo was from Groningen, and so he would ride his bike every day to go see her and court her. And when they got married, and my dad was born, and my aunt Yanni was born, they came over on a boat through New York, and probably parts of the story I'm not supposed to tell, but Aunt Yanni had the measles, and they covered her up because obviously you're not supposed to bring a baby with the measles on a boat. And but he was a dreamer. He was a dreamer, and those dreams landed him in New York. They moved to Vermont, where their sponsor family was, and then he wanted to go to Arkansas, and Beppa wanted to go to California, and they got to a Y in the road coming out of Chicago. They either went south to Arkansas or they went straight west to California, and they went to California because that's what Beppa wanted. And then they ended up in Linden, Washington, a small Dutch community. Windmill on the hall that was turned into a hotel. All kinds of De Vries and Veenstres and all the families, the Dutch families that kept the language alive, the traditions alive. The dreamers all came together in his laughter. I know we're here for the last Annette song, and I'll get back to it, but those two lines, a dreamer and laughter, could not better define Paca. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Nightwish. There's probably, from the fan standpoint, at that angle, there's probably never really a good possible shot with the camera going in and out of focus with everybody's hands up. But the water was really cool too, and the water, rain and stuff has a special story which we'll get into later. Not this video. Well, I'll tell you a really quick story. My cousins might shoot me for this one, but when Paca passed away in 96 or 97, end of 96, 97, doesn't matter. We were sold all the cows, and so it just rained like it does in northern Washington. And after the funeral, we all went back to the farmhouse, and Beppa cooked a big meal, and we were all the cousins playing, and it. I've got one cousin older than me, and then it goes. So it's her, me, her brother, my sister, and then all the little ones. And so us four we were way too old to be playing in the mud. But we went outside, and no shit, all my cousins were just their heads sticking out where the dry cows were kept, and that was not mud, and it had just rained, and they smelled so ripe. And I looked at Beppa, and she looked at the parents and said, "Those kids are not coming in my house." And I just said, "Beppa, can I go get the parlor hose?" And Paca had this 2-3 inch fire hose that we would use with high water pressure to get the manure out of the holding area. And she said, "Oh yes." And I needed that therapy that day after saying goodbye to Paca. It was just what I needed to piss off all the cousins who stripped down into their undies, and we sprayed the shit out of them. I understand why people had said that this song was one of their all-time Nightwish favorites. Move over, because it's up there on my list. It's definitely up there in mine. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the last day. The last day out of 50 out of 50, not my last day listening to Nightwish songs. We'll see you guys then.